Hello, today we are going to make a home for bees. This was inspired by the mason bee house that I've been watching. The mason bees in my yard basically lay their eggs into this little bee home that we have provided for them. And I think this is a really cool way for us to help the bees. So let's get started. I have a tin can, it's been washed out. I have a stack of paper bag papers. These are, I think the most important part is to keep them the height of the can, which is 4.5 inches. So 4.5 by 6 or 7 inches, but really the length doesn't matter. Let's see here, I have string. I have scissors and string, which are optional, a glue stick, and a pencil. So watch me. I have my paper. Let's see here. I'm basically going to roll this up so that it looks like a little place for a bee to live or lay their eggs. Here we go. So I'm going to put a little glue on one end. I'm going to take my pencil, and the tightness doesn't matter. I say that loosely. The tightness, you don't want them so tight. And then I get to the end. This is where with the kiddos, I usually count to 10. I say, we're gonna count to 10 and we're gonna hold it on the seam. And we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, depending on how sticky your glue is and how everything's working out for you that day, it should stick, okay? So, and now it kind of, you can see, let's do it. So that's about it. Now, the skinnier you don't want them much smaller than that. So pencil is about the smallest you want. I did use a Sharpie for some. It makes the hole a little bit bigger. But obviously the smaller you go, the more you're gonna have, the more of these little guides you're gonna have to make. After I'm finished, I'm going to fill them in here. And you'll see that that's what I'm gonna do now. I've made a whole bunch beforehand. I stick them in here so they're all facing outwards. Now, this is where the bees go in. They lay a little area of nectar and pollen, I think is what I read, and then they lay their egg. And then they go off and they collect mud, if you believe it, and they pack the little cell of mud. Now this is mason bees is what I'm talking about, not honey bees. Mason bees, they lay a little layer of honey, or not honey, pollen and nectar, and then they lay their egg on top of it, and then they pack it full of mud, and they do it from the back end, all the way to the front end. There we go. So I have these all in here. You'll fill them all the way to the top and have them nice and snug so your bees have lots of places to go. There we go. I think that's all of them. I thought it was full, but I think I'm gonna make a few more, maybe 3 or 4 more. I'll stick them in there. Now this is where it's optional. This is the bee home and it's all ready to go, as long as it's all filled up, because once it's full, it won't tip over. Now I have mine out in my garden like this, and it's laying on its side. Rather, my home, the little bee home that I bought, is standing up. It looks like a little home. But this little guy, we can choose to get some string and hang it if you want. If you cut a couple strings, let's see here, I would say 3 or 4 feet, maybe 3 feet. 3 feet would probably be good. Okay, we're gonna cut 2 strings the same length. Okay, we are gonna put one of the strings under the one end. I'll tie it, if I can get the edges. Whoops, wrong one. So, let's see here. Gonna tie it. Okay, tie it, And you want to measure the strings so that they're the same, right? We will secure this guy here. So now I have him. And we're going to do the same thing on the other end of this can. And I'll show you. Okay, there's one. Now we're going to do the same thing to this side, okay? So there's a string holding one side, and there's going to be a string holding the other side, like this. Remember, match the ends. Match the ends so that they're the same length. There we go, make them the same length. Okay, let's secure it by doing it again. Okay, so now I have two strings, and this is where, like I said, this is optional, in my opinion anyways. This bee home wouldn't live, it would live closer to your house underneath where it's not gonna, or maybe under a tree where it's not gonna get pelted with water. There we go. So now I have these two strings, and now I'm going to basically tie them together. All four of the strings, I'm gonna bring them together and tie another knot so that you can hang these outside. And this is a place for mason bees to place their babies. New eggs, make new, just like that. And you could hang that in your yard. All right, guys. Thank you for joining my lesson. I hope that all made sense. I figured it would be easier to have a video. I'm a visual, very visual person. So stuff like this makes more sense to me than reading it. So there is your house. Have fun making them. This is such a good activity for the little ones to roll up that paper and hold it. Really good fine motor skills. And also kind of fun for you to do. It's more of an artsy project or a craft, right? So have fun with it. And thanks for joining me. Bye.
Bye.